breaking down the Vikings from the perspective of a former NFL General Manager of the Year. It's Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, presented by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
Welcome to Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday and Thursday during the Viking season, except this week will be on Wednesday because of Thanksgiving, and brought to you by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers in the 2024 GMC Sierra on 1500 ESPN and available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. I'm Jeff Diamond, former Vikings GM, former Tennessee Titans president. Our producer is Sam Bird, and does a great job putting our show together. And Sam, that was a little bit closer than it needed to be yesterday for the Vikings, but it's a W.
That's right. It's Jeff, I've been saying this all season long. It's never easy. Never easy in the NFL, and quite frankly, never easy as a Vikings fan to watch those kind of games. But you're right. We got it done. The fifth time in 5 games in a row, by the way, in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly right. Five straight years winning in Chicago, which is a great achievement in and of itself, how difficult Soldier Field can be and how tricky the winds can be there. But as you said, and as I always said, nobody ever said it was going to be easy in the NFL every week. And I think it's an appropriate thought that we had very early in the game when Aaron Jones fumbled on the 1-yard line. The Vikings have a blocked kick. They have a botched onside kick. It was up and down, roller coaster game. Sam Darnold very clutch in overtime, obviously, along with T.J. Hockenson, Jordan Addison. And I also have this thought, when some of the national people say, oh, the Vikings won and Justin Jefferson really didn't do much to contribute to the win. Not true.
Yeah.
Very inaccurate, very uninformed statement. And O'Connell said it after the game, repeated it again today, and so did T.J. Hockenson, that these guys are getting open, he and Addison, Hockenson and Addison, because Justin Jefferson attracts so much attention with the double coverage, with the bracket coverage, with the 2 deep safeties, and it's obvious that he's pulling coverage away from these guys, and they're getting open because of that. And then when teams adjust and they try to play him one-on-one, that's also going to be fool's gold for them. So pick your poison, as they say, when you've got the kind of supporting cast that Sam Darnold has and that Kevin O'Connell has to work with. It's led first and foremost by Justin Jefferson. He still had 2 catches in the game, and one of them on the overtime drive, a 20-yard completion was a big play. He also drew 2 pass interference penalties, which contributed to both led to scores. I think 10 points out of those 2 penalties. So he is definitely a factor anytime he lines up on offense for the Vikings, and obviously, he'd like to have more production. He wants to be among the league leaders. He still is second in the league in receiving yards, but it's obviously frustrating too. But he knows, and that just shows the kind of team player he is, that he wants to win. There are plenty of other receivers in this league who would be pouting even in a win in that situation. And we've seen some of those guys here too over the years. So
yes, we have.
It can happen. But for the Vikings, just a big win. Get the win on the road, 3 straight road wins, and this is a road win in the NFC North, which kind of counts double in some respects. So they moved to 9-2 on the season. So unexpected that they would have had this kind of record this year. And I think it was kind of funny, Sam, is before the season, I made a prediction, like everybody makes their predictions of a season record. I predicted 9-8, and I said that I thought that Sam Darnold would be the quarterback through about week 8 or so, and then J.J. McCarthy would take over. Of course, that went by the wayside when McCarthy gets hurt in preseason. Most of the other analysts, media people here locally, nationally, had the Vikings 6-11, 7-10, maybe 8-9. I didn't see anybody else other than me, maybe one other person, that gave them a winning record. I had them making the playoffs. As like the 7th seed.
Sure.
But here they are, and they're 1 game behind Detroit, who is rolling 10-1 with 8 straight wins. 1 game ahead of the Packers, 8-3, and they just blew out the 49ers, the defending NFC champions, and they didn't have Brock Purdy in the lineup. Detroit, easy win in Indianapolis. I thought the Colts would play them tougher. Both of those teams play on Thanksgiving Day, hosting games. The Lions will host the Bears, should get that win. But you never know. It's a divisional game. Strange things can happen. Caleb Williams, we saw some impressive play by the rookie in the game against the Vikings, and maybe he goes off against Detroit. Who knows? Maybe they take him too lightly. The Packers have the Dolphins coming in. They've won 3 straight since Tua came back from his latest concussion. So that could be a challenging game for Green Bay. But for the Vikings, they'll next host Arizona, the first of 3 straight at home, entering a great stretch, but they're playing quality teams. Arizona leading their division, co-leader with Seattle, but the Cardinals lost to the Seahawks on Sunday. Atlanta coming off their bye, and the Vikings will host Kirk Cousins and the Falcons in 2 weeks, and then they get the Bears back here on a Monday night. So 3 in a row on the road, and then they'll be finishing up at Seattle, have Green Bay here, and at Detroit. So certainly a great position to be in at 9-2. 98% chance to make the playoffs probability.
Love that.
Like those odds.
Yep, that's right.
And so a good situation to be in, a big win. 9-2 sounds a lot better than 8-3, and the Vikings are rolling with 4 straight wins heading into this 3-game homestand. Let's go back to the Sunday game at Soldier Field. Early on, Vikings cough up the ball in the first series, kind of go back and forth. The Bears actually scored the first touchdown. Vikings answer that first play of the second quarter. This is a touchdown pass from Sam Darnold to Jordan Addison. Had a career day for Jordan.
3 receivers. The single setback is Akers. Jefferson in motion. Play action. Darnold surveys, finds Addison in the end zone. He plucks it for 6.
And notice he's single covered as Justin Jefferson draws double coverage. And Addison had a 45-yard reception on the previous play on this drive. So Vikings tied the game 7-all. Second quarter, more problems for the Bears special teams. The Vikings had their share in this game too, but the Bears, second straight week, a blocked field goal.
And it's blocked! Second straight blocked field goal for Santos. Brian Asamoah weaving with the return out near midfield at the 47.
Asamoah's shown some good moves, and the Bears, who lost to the Packers on the final play on a blocked field goal, and here they have scouted him out very well, and they knew that on longer kicks, Santos kicks it a little bit low, and Tillery got up, knocked that ball down, and a nice return by Asamoah, and that leads to this upcoming touchdown from Sam Darnold to Jalen Nailor.
Second and goal. That's Jones in motion. Darnold looking. Darnold to the sideline. Nailor with the catch. Touches the pylon, and that's a touchdown for Jalen Nailor.
Again, Jefferson drawing coverage. Vikings up 14-7 at this point. It's 14-10 at the half. Going to the third quarter. First play of the third quarter, Jalen Nailor again. Career day, 8 catches, 162 yards. And here's a beauty.
First down. Quiet day for Jefferson. 1 catch for 7 yards. Darnold going up top early, and he finds Addison, and Addison bouncing off a tackler down the sideline. Addison down inside the 10.
Jordan upset that he didn't outrun the safety to the end zone.
Yeah.
Said he might have to do some more wind sprints or something.
Well, he did slow down, though. He focused on staying in bounds, and that was way more important. That's how he got that extra yardage.
Yeah, exactly. What a great balancing act and athleticism that he showed on that play. 69-yard gain. Unfortunately for the Vikings, they kind of went backwards from there with a penalty, sack, and whatever, and ended up having to kick a field goal. But the Vikings at this point are up 17-10 on that field goal. Heading further into the third quarter, another special teams miscue by the Bears on this muffed putt.
Tremaine Edmonds, and he said, well, Fred Warner's a special player. I would compare Tremaine's length and athleticism to Fred, his former teammate. That ball bounced off of one of the Bears. The return man, it caromed off his leg.
By the way, these highlights courtesy of Fox and Kevin Kugler and trying to remember who the analyst was.
I think was it Burkhardt?
No,
Daryl Johnston.
Kugler and Daryl Johnston.
Daryl Johnston, yeah.
Daryl Johnston. So Vikings at this point, again, capitalize on the special teams miscue, led to 14 points between the blocked field goal and this muffed punt. And the Vikings eventually score on a 2-yard run by Aaron Jones. Watch the good blocking of Dalton Reisner and Brian O'Neill on the play.
Will this be the moment? Jones with the carry. Jones to the end zone. The streak is broken. A Vikings running back has rushed for a second-half touchdown.
There had been 27 straight games that had not happened with the Vikings running back rushing for a touchdown in the second half. But Aaron Jones took care of that, and he also took care of getting to 100 yards that he hadn't done since week 4 in this game. Aaron Jones ends up with a 106-yard game, ran well, offensive line blocking well, despite losing Cam Robinson early in the game to a foot injury. They'll have to monitor that this week, see if they can get him back for the Arizona game. David Questenberry stepped in, gave up a couple sacks, gave up a bunch of pressures, but in the end, on the overtime drive, he actually held down the fort pretty well, as did the entire offensive line, other than the one sack that was taken on the overtime drive. So Vikings, at this point, are starting to cruise in the game. In good shape, it seems. And here's a big pass play from Sam Darnold to T.J. Hockenson on 3rd and 12 from midfield that helps the Vikings pad their lead.
Converted on 3rd and 13 earlier in the drive. Darnold down the sideline. Hockenson all alone. The tight end has the first down and much, much more. Down at the Chicago 16-yard line, a pickup of 34.
And that set up a 26-yard field goal by Parker Romo. Had another perfect day for him and has not missed a field goal this year. Missed one extra point in one of the games, but he's been a great replacement for Will Reichard, certainly. And we'll see what happens here. This is actually going to be Romo's 4th game and Reichard's 4th game on IR this week. So after the Arizona game, Reichard, if he's healthy with, as I recall, is a quad injury, if he can come back, we'll see. And maybe Kevin O'Connell doesn't even want to make a move when he's got a hot kicker right now. Well, that'll be something to monitor after this week. Vikings are up 27-16 at this point. Then a special teams miscue by the Vikings give up a 55-yard kickoff return to DeAndre Carter, who had muffed that punt. And that set up the Bears with a short field. Caleb Williams takes advantage. And here's a 1-yard touchdown pass to Keenan Allen, who hurt the Vikings in this game, as he did last year for the Chargers. Mm-hmm. He had a bunch of catches in this game. Keenan Allen, big target, tough player, 9 catches for 86 yards. DJ Moore had 7 for 106, and he had the 2-point conversion afterwards. But here's the touchdown pass to Keenan Allen.
Bears line it up on 1st and goal. Williams, pressure coming. Williams ducks away. On the roll, Williams throws open in the back of the end zone. It is caught. The touchdown by Keenan Allen.
And that just shows the mobility, athleticism of Caleb Williams. I got to admit, I was not a big fan of his coming into the season, and I thought Jaden Daniels was the better player even in the draft, and that's the way the season started out. Williams is coming on and starting to really show his ability. He's got a great arm. He's got that mobility. We saw it in this game, and in this case, he dodges that potential sack from Harrison Smith and throws a touchdown pass. All of a sudden, it gets a 2-point conversion. It's 27-24. Okay, big deal. Teams were 0 for 9 on onside kicks this year until this happened.
Nobody's had more practice than Minnesota. And that one, ball is loose. Was it touched? The Bears say they haven't. Was it touched first by Minnesota?
Goes off Johnny Munt's foot. He's totally unaware, not even watching where the ball is kicked. just an awful play by him.
Yeah, such a Vikings thing that we're the first team to give up the onside kick this season, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that certainly Matt Daniels, the special teams coach, and Kevin O'Connell will be working hard on this week to make sure that the players understand. First of all, the ball's got to go 10 yards. Second of all, watch where the ball is so it's not going to hit you. Just a bad play by Munt in that situation. And the Bears get the ball and a quick, big completion downfield from Caleb Williams. And all of a sudden, the Bears are kicking a tying field goal. We're going to overtime. And I think everybody's shocked.
Of course.
In Soldier Field and here in Minnesota. But to the Vikings' credit, they respond and refocus Jonathan Grenard. And this might have been the biggest play of the game. There were a lot of big plays in this game, which is why we have so many highlights.
Yep.
But Grenard, and watch Caleb Williams holding the ball in this situation. I thought he had a great game until this play.
Positive cataloging of one of those learning experiences here.
Good protection. Nobody open. Williams buying all kinds of time. Where's he going to go? Nowhere! He takes the sack back at the 20. Jonathan Grenard gets to him for the second time today.
That's Grenard's 9th sack of the season. Van Ginkel had a sack in this game. They're the co-leaders for the Vikings with 9 sacks, and they're both tied for 6th in the NFL with sacks. But as I said in that play, Caleb Williams has got to throw that ball 8 miles out of bounds.
Yeah.
Because he's outside the tackle box. He can throw it away, and that is a major rookie mistake, and I think that probably cost the Bears potentially the game in that situation. We don't know if they would have even converted if it had been 2nd and 10 or whatever, but that put them way back, whatever, 2nd and 19, 2nd and 17, or 3rd and 17, and the Vikings get the ball back, and that's where Sam Darnold shows his veteran savvy and his clutch play. He completes a big 3rd and 10 to Jordan Addison for 13 yards, a 20-yarder to Jefferson, 12 to Hockenson, and then this play goes 29 yards to T.J. Hockenson.
2nd and 8. Darnold off the play fake. Wide open at the 20 is Hockenson. Down the sideline, inside the 10, and out of bounds at the 9.
And that set up this winning field goal by Parker Romo.
29 yards for the win. Good snap. Good hold. Good kick. And the Minnesota Vikings win it in overtime. 30-27.
We're going to come back in a second, hear from the coach, hear from some of the players, talk about what happened around the league yesterday. But here, first, let's talk about our great sponsor, the Select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers. There are trucks, and there's the truck, GMC Sierra, with available features like the V8 engine, the ultimate luxury interior, and, of course, the available world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, not just any truck, the truck. GMC's continued commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your Select Minnesota GMC dealers. Stop by and choose from our wide selection of colors, models, and trim levels. Our friendly sales professionals are ready to work with you so you drive home happy with not just any deal, the deal. So come take a test drive today. We are professional-grade GMC. Well-qualified buyers get 0% APR on 2024 GMC Sierra light-duty models. See your Select Minnesota GMC dealers today. Length of contract limited. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 12/2/24. And here's Kevin O'Connell talking postgame.
Very hard-fought, tough win. Giving up a lead late like that. Give those guys credit for not quitting and fighting to the very end. We got to do a better job trying to close that thing out in regulation. But, we've learned a lot about our team in different ways throughout the season. Every result, over our 9 wins and our 2 losses, excuse me, we've learned a lot about our team, and I think we learned some new things today. And was really proud of the way you're on the road in the NFC North, and momentum is not just lost, it's completely lost, and there's very many groups that might not respond that way, getting the stop, and then finding a way to overcome, some adversity, some caused by ourselves, but, Sam Darnold was phenomenal through the air today, making a lot of plays. Jordan Addison and TJ Hockenson, I just want to highlight.
So the coach, 9-2, heading into the game with the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday at U.S. Bank Stadium. Vikings happy to be back at home. It's been a while, about
Yes,
a month.
That's right.
With those 3 road games in a row. A couple things to monitor this week. The hamstring injury to Ivan Pace came in as the Vikings' leading tackler and left early in the game. He's a guy that they certainly want to get healthy down the stretch. As we mentioned before, Cam Robinson's foot injury. Jay Ward had an elbow injury, so a couple of things. And will Josh Oliver make it back this week? The Vikings still had a good rushing attack in this game, but he's such a big part of that run game, and he's emerged as a very good receiving target at tight end this year. So we'll see if he makes it back this week for the Cardinal game. Sam Darnold talking about happy to get that 9th win.
I think, first and foremost, what a resilient win. From everyone in that locker room, just super proud of those guys. As an offense, I said it to Laura after the game, but I feel like, we could have been a lot better in certain situations. Just the O-line, I think, too, like the way that they leaned on the game the way that they leaned on that defensive line in the second half, and the linebackers, I thought was incredible. And speaking of those guys, I want to give a ton of credit to Chicago. I feel like they played a really good game. Their scheme, their players, everything that they do is super tough. And, we were able to come out, like I said, just a resilient effort by everyone, and very proud of that one.
Yeah, it's been a tough season for the Bears. It's a quality team. They've got a lot of really good players on that team. The defense played hard, and as we said, Caleb Williams looks like he's going to be a potentially emerging star in the league. He's got to learn not to hold the ball like he did on the sack by Grenard. But the Bears just have been kind of hard luck team this year between the Hail Mary loss and the blocked field goal loss and then an overtime to the Vikings. We'll see if they can pull the big upset over the Lions on Thanksgiving. I don't think so. Jordan Addison, career day, as we said, and he was a happy camper after the game.
I'll just say I just feel like I put in the work all week, like I do every single week. And like I said, today was just my day. I want to thank the defense for stepping up in crunch time moments, Sam Darnold for playing his tail off, the offensive line, the receivers outside blocking. And I just feel like today was my day. We got a lot of great receivers in here that can, do what I did when we get our ops. So I just say.
And TJ Hawkinson, also a terrific game. He's all the way back from that knee injury, obviously. 7 catches, 114 yards. The 2 big catches in overtime. Really impactful player. Here's TJ.
Their backers were just playing off a lot, and I was able to move them a little bit, but they got good players on that defensive side, and so you got to take your ops when you can, and you got to see coverages, and like I said, they're playing a lot of cover 2 for Jets. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're making sure that he's not going to wreck the game, and we just are there to do our job and get open when we can.
And TJ hit the nail on the head there. That's what Justin Jefferson's impact is on that team to help Hawkinson, Addison get open, Aaron Jones underneath. And let's also give a little kudo to Nick Mullins. Comes in cold off the bench on a third and 13 play in the fourth quarter and completes a 14-yard pass to Aaron Jones to keep a drive alive that led to the field goal that they needed eventually in the game. And Nick Mullins, I was not his fan last year when he threw 8 interceptions down the stretch, but he's proving to be a quality number 2 quarterback for this team and made a big play, certainly in yesterday's game. Jonathan Grenard, as I said, may have made the biggest play in the game with that sack. And here he talked about how he didn't really think he was going to get there. He was double teamed on the play, as you can see.
I don't know how I got there, number one. I had like 2 people on me, but at the same time, just like ripping through, and they were holding me. I ain't gonna say they're holding, they're really blocking the hell out of me. But somehow I got through there, and he still had the ball, and at that point I was like, I got to make the play. So he's a younger guy. He has all the arms down the world. Probably one of the most young talented quarterbacks I've seen, honestly, and I give him that, tip my hat to him. But yeah, of course he wants to go for the game winner, wants to end it all, make him play on his feet. But thankfully I got there, man.
So a couple things to think about for this week with the Cardinals. Vikings secondary had a little leakage the last couple weeks. I think they need to play better, tighten up the coverage. Gave up a lot of catches to Keenan Allen, DJ Moore in this game. Cole Kmet, the tight end. Going to have to tighten things up against a Cardinal team that they can throw the ball. Kyler Murray, when he gets hot, now he had a down game against the Seahawks, threw a pick 6 in that game. Cardinals get beat by Seattle 16-6. They're still the co-leaders in the NFC West as they come to town. The special teams, as we talked about, got to tighten some things up there with kickoff return coverage and with obviously the onside kick hands team.
Yes.
Keep your feet away from the ball, Johnny Munt. So before we kind of look around the league real quick, let's hear again from our great sponsor, the Select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
There are trucks. Then there's the truck, GMC Sierra, with available features like the V8 engine, the ultimate luxury interior, and of course, the available world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, not just any truck, the truck. GMC's continued commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your local GMC dealer. Come take a test drive today and see for yourself. We are professional grade. GMC. Well-qualified buyers get 0% APR for 36 months on GMC Sierra light-duty models. See your local GMC dealer today. Monthly payment is $28.16 for every $1,000 you finance. Average example down payment 15%. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 12/2/24.
So around the league, the Lions and the Packers rolled along without a lot of difficulty. The Lions take care of Indianapolis. I thought that game would be tighter. Lions rushed for 137 yards and 3 touchdowns, had 37 minutes of time of possession. So Jared Goff didn't have to have a heavy workload day. The Packers really trounced the 49ers, who are really fading, all the injuries that they've had this year, and no Brock Purdy. Brandon Allen had a couple turnovers in that game. Packers rout the 49ers 38-10. They moved to 8-3, one game behind the Vikings in that tight NFC North race at the top. Both Detroit and Green Bay, as we said, hosting games on Thanksgiving. The Lions have the Bears, and the Packers will have the Dolphins come in with 3 straight wins. Arizona, we mentioned, losing 16-6 to Seattle. Kyler Murray threw for 285, including 133 yards on 12 catches by his tight end, Trey McBride. They have to watch for him. And Marvin Harrison Jr. had a quiet day in Seattle, but he's an impact player, a very dangerous receiver. Again, be a challenge for that Vikings secondary. He was held to 3 catches for 47 yards. Seahawks and the Cardinals tied for first place. The Vikings will see the Seahawks in a few weeks down the road in Seattle. The Eagles are flying high and hot. They won their 7th straight, 37-20 over the Rams. Saquon Barkley had a monster night, 255 yards rushing. Wow.
Yep.
He was just rolling last night. And the Washington Commanders get upset by Dallas in Washington, which opens up a 2.5 game lead for the Eagles. Should be a great atmosphere come Sunday at U.S. Bank Stadium. Vikings have been on the road for 3 weeks, all victories, and now they face the Cardinals at home, first of 3 games. And Kirk Cousins comes to town with the Falcons. That's going to be a fun one. And the Bears on a Monday night. It's going to be a great 3-game homestand for the Vikings as they're 9-2, in great shape to make the playoffs. And we're going to preview that Cardinals game on our show on Wednesday night this week because of Thanksgiving, be one night early. So this has been Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday and Thursday, except this week on Wednesday, during the Viking season, by your Select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers and the 2024 GMC Sierra on 1500 ESPN, available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. This is Jeff Diamond with Sam Bird.